UW-Oshkosh has a new resource for people to learn more about the world around them. The university joining a growing number of schools who have the, quote, India Corner. This includes books and other educational materials that explore things like India's history and culture.
So the role of the university is not simply to provide knowledge. It's to cultivate that curiosity and create opportunities for discovery. For many students, international learning begins with something very simple.
Some of the other universities with India Corners include Indiana University at Bloomington, Rutgers University, and the University of Buffalo.